Yay, it's Randy Byrd. How are you doing for the Monday Mojo coaching hour, coaching half hour, coaching 10 minutes, whatever it is? I'm going to do this every single week. Thank you for being here. Also, invite others that might get a benefit from this. This is production-based coaching. And so I have more people than I can handle in my calendar for coaching. And then we thought this would be a real value to the organization. And we open it up to everybody. If you're my coaching client, you get access. You get it opened up to your organization. If you're in my organization, you get access. Actually, it's open to everybody. And it's going to be production-focused conversations, production-based objection handling. And really, we're going to be talking about the things you need to do in your business right now to make this work. There's a lot of moves and manipulations and things in the market right now that you need to be aware of, right? I'm going to stay with the foundational, fundamental things. Stay away from the news. Don't get in that circle. I just stayed with my buddy for 2 days in Napa, and I didn't know they had it, but DirecTV has, it's like, it's called group news or something. It's like all 6 major news networks at once, and they're all going. You got CNN, you got Fox, you got HY, you got this, you got that. And there's 6 screens, and you could take the cursor and move it to the one you want to listen to and highlight it, and then you're listening to that one. And it was freaking mental overload. It was like you're looking at about your crane, and then the guy tackled the guy at the golf course this weekend, and then the weather in Puerto Rico is the hottest it's ever been, and then this, and then that. And it was like, literally, I watched it for 10 minutes with him while having my coffee, and I love this guy dearly, but I was like, holy moly, I'm overwhelmed now, right? I'm overwhelmed with stuff in my brain, and it took me out of my morning routine that I was in. I did my morning routine up in the spare room before I came down the stairs, had coffee with him, and visited for about 20, 30 minutes before I headed out of Napa, Sonoma up to Redding. It affected me in 10 minutes because now my brain's thinking about Ukraine and all this other stuff. And then I kind of laughed at the golf thing. That was really funny. And I'm a golfer. But the reality is this stuff is going to challenge you with your mental belief. And real estate right now is a mental belief game. And it's how you are positioning yourself with what you're listening to, what you're working on, what you're focusing on. All this stuff is going to impact what you have conversations with your clients, right? If a client asks me what's going on in the world, I go, I don't know. If it wasn't on Sports Center, I don't know. I focus on what's happening. I know the real estate market's up 11.8%. I know the sales prices are up 3.2% over last year. I know the listings are down 31% because that's what I'm focused on. Now, if you want to talk about the Middle East, I have no clue. I literally have no clue. The gas could be $12 a gallon. I wouldn't know it until I get to the pump. But that's just what I choose to focus on. Let me help you in the things I focus on, right? So you really have to take all these things in the real estate world and put them through a cheese filter into a space that they can understand and be education based, but factual information. They need to be factually backed up, data driven results, right? So when you're having a conversation, you're not just saying the market's good. And one of the key things that I hear a lot of agents as, and who wants to play with me right now? Who wants to raise their hand and just do a little role play with me? I can't see everybody. Hold on. There we go. I got everybody. Who wants to do a role play with me? Raise your hands. Anybody?
I'll do it.
Okay. Thank you, Allison. So you've heard me say this before. You probably have a little bit of an advantage, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not trying to chastise or point out or pick on anybody. Matter of fact, I'll be nicer than average to you because you raised your hand. But I want you to answer the simple question. You're at supermarket with me. We're in line. You're like, oh, hey, Allison, how are you? How's the real estate market, Allison?
It's good. It's tough. A lot of sellers have, their interest rates that they refinanced in the last couple of years at 3% and 2%. And so sellers aren't really wanting to sell. And then buyers are a little skittish right now, to be honest. And they're nervous and they want to pull back and don't really want to commit because they're nervous about the interest rates and if it could get better in the future, if it's going to get worse. So it's really interesting right now. We're still in a seller's market, but it's really an interesting time.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to decipher that. And again, I'm not trying to pick on you. Matter of fact, I honor you for raising your hand up. You gave me very good information. You're very articulate. You're very nice to listen to. but I'm an investor looking to buy a 100-door property. You didn't help me anything in there. You assumed who I was. And you were even kind of in this middle ground of buyers and sellers. It's kind of this weird, wonky market is the feeling I got from it, which is accurate, totally accurate. So here's a script that may help you. Ask me the same question. Ask me how the market is.
Hey, Randy, how's the market going? What do you think?
Oh, Allison, such a great question. You know, it totally depends. Let me ask you a question. Are you a buyer, a seller, a renter, or an investor?
You know, I'm a renter really looking to buy a first home.
I love it. Now I could go right down that lane with you without talking about sellers. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I go, Allison, what an absolute amazing time to be a first-time home buyer. There's a lot of programs that we could talk about. There's a lot of lending options that we can talk about. People don't realize that. The cost of rents have increased so much that they're actually starting to narrow the gap between home ownership and renting. So imagine you can get in a house from 0 to 3.5% down for FHA and have your mortgage payment be the same amount as your rent. And there's even some incentives to get away from PMI, property mortgage insurance, and there's all kinds of things available for you now. Have you looked into that recently?
No, I haven't, but thanks so much for letting me know.
100%. Let me get your information. I'll send you some things, Allison. No obligation, but you absolutely want to do yourself a service and get with my lender. It's a great guy, super easygoing, and just find out what your options are because now is the best time for you. Okay, you see how I did that. Now, tell me you're somebody else. That was the renter.
I am a seller who refinanced last year. We've got an awesome house. You know, we could use a little more room, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Awesome. So the good news for you is there's a significant lack of inventory, and the challenge in inventory is leading to higher prices. The prices are still appreciating. Your problem and probably challenge that you're facing is you probably have a good interest rate, right? What's your interest rate?
It's about 3.2%.
Yeah, so you don't want to let go of that and get a 6.2 or a 7. You know, even though I think that's a short time situation, we can talk about that 1, 2, 3 year refinance and do the math to see if it's worth it. But that's usually the dialogue. And then how do you find a replacement property? You're not really sure. Are all those things maybe on your mind?
Yeah,
So let me ask you a question. If you can be 100% guaranteed that you'd have the replacement property before you sold your property, would that be valuable?
totally. Yeah.
Okay, so check mark. And if I can show you mathematically where you might have to pay 3 or 3.5% more than you're paying currently for the next 24 months, but the appreciation of the houses have been going up about 3.5 to 4% per year, that could be a complete wash and allow you to refinance in a year or two. Would that be something you might be willing to look at and talk about?
I think it could. It just makes me nervous because that's not guaranteed and just don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years and depends on
You're
elections and stuff. And that just
you're
nerve wracking.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a little nerve-wracking. There's no crystal ball, and I certainly don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. But from what we're seeing, bar wars or the ice age or something, this is what the market's looking like it's doing. And I watch the market every single day. I could tell you within a tenth of a point what's going on with inventory, time on market, all that. I'm your expert. So, in my belief, these are the things that are going to happen, right? So with those anticipated, we can talk about what these things equal up to. And again, this may go, okay, Randy, now we're sure we can't move yet. Or you might say, hey, Randy, now I see what you're talking about. We're more in a neutral territory. Or wow, we didn't know that. We're absolutely game for getting a bigger place and having that extra bedroom, right? Or a place where you could build an ADU and an additional dwelling unit and rent it out and VRBO, all these other options that come up.
What do you do when someone redirects and says, well, you know, I think I'd rather just add an addition and continue to appreciate, like build equity in the property I do have and just upgrade the place I have right now? Then how do you redirect that and keep the conversation positive as you know, an agent?
What a great idea. Let's do that together. I'll find you. Do you have a contractor already?
I don't.
I got a great resource for a contractor. It's just a referral. I don't want anything for it. I just want to connect you guys. He's a solid guy you could trust. How big of an addition are you going to do?
Well, I mean, a bedroom's what we need. So a bedroom, maybe a bathroom,
Yeah.
so that, might as
Okay.
well do both.
600 square feet, approximately, 4 to 6, something like that. I can help you with some of those things. By the way, let's do the analysis. Let's look at what you would put in this house, what the new appreciation value would be after repairs. Let's look at that as opposed to what it would take to buy the same thing. And then the 7 months of dirt, dust, and all that stuff, we could put that into the equation. But for now, let's talk factual numbers and let's help you make a good decision. I support you either way.
Cool, thanks.
You see how I'm staying high with the elevation or the elevated conversation, and I'm really a resource for them. Hey, Randy, I think we're gonna maybe put a pool in the backyard and just stay here because we're at a 3% interest rate. Let's look at that. My understanding, you should put an $80,000 pool in, it's worth about 20 grand on day one, even though you're swimming in it, it's lost 60 grand in value. What about if we look at the math of you buying a home with a complete pool done, maybe a slide, maybe jacuzzi? We look at that and then we just evaluate it. Might be better to have you put a pool in the ground. Right? So supporting them, but giving them options in my category of real estate. Valuable?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for the dialogue. That's kind of the style I want to have with this call, to get our brains thinking about, okay, that was a good response. What am I saying? What are you saying? Rich, I think you came on late, so I'm gonna pick on you. But hey, Rich, how's the real estate market?
It's kind of up and down. I still feel like it's pretty good though.
Okay, cool. So I'm picking on you because you came in late. We just went over this. So everybody on the call is going, I know what he's going to say, right? I said, and I've coached you this before, and again, I'm not trying to single you out. I love you, brother. When somebody asks you how the market is, you say, it depends. Are you a buyer, seller, investor, renter?
Oh, yes.
Because you can identify where you're going with that next answer, okay?
Oh, yeah. I apologize. I thought you were jumping into a role play with me and I was the client.
I got you, because I know you know better. I beat
Oh,
this
yeah,
on your head
no,
every
for
week.
sure.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So
yeah, it depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, 100%, because it's a different conversation to match that need, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. What structural problems are you guys coming up with? What can I help with from a coaching standpoint? Could be anything from contractual relationships and negotiating to objection handling. What can I do to support you guys today? And I thank you for being here.
I have a scenario. People in California are in a holding pattern of, are we staying? Are we going? And how much time are we going to give them, kind of thing, which I know every scenario is a different scenario.
It is. How much time are you going to give them for what? Sorry.
Oh, they're deciding, they're like, we're going to see in the next 6 months.
They're on the fence, so to speak.
Yeah. And they have been for good reason.
Right. So there's a lot of people on the fence, and I want to keep them on the fence, honestly. I don't want to push them off the fence one way or another. That's not our role. Our role is to answer them when they raise their hand. And so I would be clearly stating that. Susie, you're on the fence. I call you a fence dweller. It's okay. It's a good place to be. You're looking on this side, you're looking on that side, but you're happy. You're on the fence. Until you fall off and break your shell of your egg, it doesn't matter. You're good to go. Now, with that said, what can I do to value service add to you? What can I do to add value to you? Do you like Texas? Do you like Wyoming? Do you want me to start sending you properties from those areas? Just help you explore that, because you're going to lean on the fence like this until a time that you want to jump off one way or another. That's when I take over. Right? So you cannot really negotiate them into a contract. You could sell them into things, but it's usually going to come at the cost of being too overzealous in the sales posture. It really is. If somebody wants something, they're going to go, Susie, 123 Banana Street just came on Zillow. It's 0 days on the market. We want to look at it now, right? That's how those conversations go. If you've built the rapport and you're top of mind. If you haven't built the rapport and you're not top of mind, they're going to go to whoever is top of mind. It could be whoever sent them a postcard. It could be whoever they met at church. It could be. That's where your role is to come in to say, hey, it's been a month. I know I send my newsletter to you every 2 weeks, alternating. I talk to you every couple of weeks just to say hi, even a text message. What can I do to help you in the real estate space? Nothing. Do you have anybody I can help? I'm here to help. Right? I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. That's what's going to win in this particular market, leading with the data-driven results and facts, and that constant follow-up top of mind. You could do it through postcards, you could do it through an automation, you could do it through newsletters are only one component of that. Newsletters, I think, are once a month. The highest level newsletter is you on video once a month talking about the real estate market. If you ever want to look at how it's professionally absolutely crushed, I'm actually sitting in his hometown right now. Josh Barker is one of the best I've ever seen for consistent newsletters, and his message is beautiful. It's a video of him talking about the market from 3 to 6 minutes, and then he's got back stats to show you, and it's month to month to month, so you can see the trends. And I'm not even in Reading. I've been out of Reading for a decade now, 10 years. And I was one of the top agents here. I don't know the market now. I know the market because I follow Josh. I know the market pretty damn good, right? Because I follow Josh. And so I have some agents here. I have some value here. My dad lives here. There's still interest in Reading. So I know what's going on in the market. The market is, the listings are down 32%, I think, for Reading, because it's in his news report I just watched. And it comes out on the 1st, at the 2nd, at the latest. It's really, that's the best case scenario. If you can't do that, the next thing is some form of a newsletter. It could be email newsletter. It could be through KV Core, automatic, just automatically populated, goes out. I prefer that one because anybody that goes into my database, they immediately get launched on a newsletter campaign at very minimum. And then if you really want to step it up a notch, you give them a property notification for something that they're looking for, or you have a conversation saying, hey, if I ever find a investment property, over 5 doors needs commercial loans and under 4 doors means just a regular old loan, no big deal. Which one of those would you prefer getting? If they go, yeah, we might be able to go 8 doors or something, they get that. If they go, oh yeah, maybe a duplex, then they get that. And it's just kind of like, hey, I just got this cool thing. I just want to send you it once a month. What are they going to say? No, I don't want to see what investment properties are going for. Right? So it's an easy assumptive conversation that you can have with them that starts really racking up and building your database. Same thing when you go, like I'm sitting in front of a dry cleaners. And if I walk in the dry cleaners, go, hey man, I got a couple of shirts to do, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm a real estate broker. I'm sure you know 100 in town. They probably all get your shirts done here. But do you have anybody sending you like investment properties every month? I have some off market. I have some other stuff. Are you cool if I send you some stuff? That's okay if you use somebody else. I mean, it's not okay, but I'd like to earn your business, but I'd like to send you this stuff. What's the best email? Awesome. I got your name. I know where you work. What's the best number to get a hold of you? Database, market report, set it and forget it to some level, right? And then you have this little drip automatic 30-day, 60-day phone call you do with them to say, hey, Bill, Randy Byrd, remember I brought the shirts in? I've been sending you those reports on investment properties. Anything, strike a bell. Yeah, you're sending me everything that's like on the west side of town. I hate it over there. Okay, cool. East side's good. What do you want? North, maybe? Right? It's all about that fine tuning and getting that feedback. All right. And this stuff is now business, honestly. I've got coaching clients that they're re-engaging with their databases because they knew they should do better and they weren't, and COVID and everything else. And immediately they got 3, 4 listings because they called their people and just said, hey, just checking in. How's life after COVID? How's life after, school's out, whatever it may be. All right. So again, groundwork, foundational stuff, but this is the stuff that makes a big difference. All right.
Thanks.
Good question.
Excellent.
What else? What else you got? Any struggles you're having with listings or buyers right now that I can help with?
What do you do when competitors are offering commission rates that are lower? So typically we do 6% and one seems to be offering 5, 4 for listing agents.
Man, your timing's amazing. And I hate the question because I'm bipolar right now on this. And I say that with a little laugh in my voice, but I've literally coached my people that over the last probably 5 or 6 years of coaching, I have not wavered on this. I'm like, you're a professional. You're one of the top agents in your MLS or in your city or whatever. That's usually my clientele. You're 6%. You're a freaking professional. Quit discounting your commission, period, end of story. And I had a guy in Tahoe that was doing about 30 transactions a year, over $1 million. So he's in the upper tier, right? But he goes, all my clients are at 5%. All the agents are at 5%. And I'm like, well, sounds like you better be at 5%. And he goes, well, that's not what I wanted to hear. And I go, what do you want to hear? And he goes, tell me how to get to 6. And I'm like, don't accept less. Don't freaking accept less. That's how you do it. You take 27 out of 30 at 6 instead of 27 out of 27 at 5. And he's like, and I said, that's your drunk monkey. You need to go in there. If you're unsure about it, they're going to be unsure about it. But if you stack your value so great that it's ridiculous to get it for 6%, that's when you're a different agent. And it's worked very, very well. So with that being said, now I'm going to the other side of the coin. I literally am looking at models right now that are crushing it. I don't like the 1% listing. I've got a best friend that owns Zap Mortgage. He's doing them at 1%. And he's like in everybody's face about why it doesn't need to be over 1% on the listing side. And I really, it turns my stomach when he has those conversations because it's not true. But the reality is 4 in the MLS total, or 2% in the MLS for the buyer's agents becoming very norm in big cities. 2.5 is across the board. It's in 98 or 99 percentile. Only a small fraction of agents are doing 6%. So in my opinion, we've had commission compression to get to a point to where now the market is set at 5%. Even the top agents are adapting to 5% as overall. And they're not willing to negotiate below that. But the reality is I like flexibility. So if it were me back in the listing envelope again, which it is a little bit because I have a team that we're launching and working with, I'm going to have a variety of products because I want to match everybody's needs, right? And so imagine this. Let's say, Rich, ask me how much my commission is.
So Randy, how much do you charge for your real estate commission?
Oh, I appreciate the question. I got variable rates. So let me ask you, have you talked to anybody? What are you looking for? What's your commission in your head that you're willing to pay?
Well, I'm interested in saving money where I can on the commissions. And
Yeah,
I
me too.
talked to an agent that said he would discount the commission. So I kind of want to know where, what can you do for me? I don't want to compromise on service too much, but what are we looking at? What do you charge?
Yeah, totally. So I have a variable rate, depends on what you need, because I don't think there's one thing for all, right? Would you agree that commission's not for if you're selling luxury or if you're doing big mailers or whatever it is, right? There's a variable amount of marketing that we can do, but mine's real simple. I got 4, 5, 6, or 7, and 4 is the bare bones. We put it on the MLS for 2%. We do it for 2% on our side. That's like the bare bones. You get it on the MLS, you get a sign in the yard, right? Let's break this down. Let's do it at 4, 5, and 6 to make it easy, right?
Yeah.
So at 5%, we put it on the MLS at 2.5%. We get 2.5%, and we do virtual tours. We do the drone. We do the whole shoot and caboodle. But you're just not going to get that really expensive marketing campaign. Facebook ads, all those things cost money. And we can talk about it later, but it's best to handle it now. But again, we're going to split the commission with the agent on the MLS. And then in our platinum program, it's 7% commission. And what we do is at 7% commission, we do 3% on the MLS, which is above everybody else, right? Not many people are offering 3%. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's rare. So we're immediately incentivizing the buyer's agents. And then on my side, we spend way over that 1 extra percent on repairs on the house. We're going to send our handyman over. We're going to stage the house for no cost. We're going to send our painters over. They're going to spend like 3 or 4 hours touching up things. And we're going to get the most amount of value from your house. And we're going to spend it up front. You've got to pay us 1% up front. And then the other 6% will be paid at close of escrow. And if we don't sell, that 1% is not refundable. But other than that, everybody's on the same page. We get 3%. They get 3%. We're spending 1% on your property like a dog, right? We're going big. We're doing everything that you could do. Facebook ads, marketing, color flyers, multiple layer brochures, drones. I do the Matterport. I do all that. Everything you could do on a listing, you get for that. And again, you've got to have some skin in the game because we're going to spend some upfront money. But dude, this is the best thing, I think, for the people that are busy, that don't want to deal with all the things. It's not for the guy that can go out and, paint his own stuff and save some money. It's for the guy that doesn't have the time for that. So out of those 4, 5, or 7, which one of those sound like the best model for you?
Well, my house does need a lot of touch up and work to be done. So, I'm not going to do the work. So I would probably want to spend a little bit more money in order to get some of that stuff done so that I can get the most from my house. How much of a difference do you think it'll make in the sales price?
Well, let me come out and look at your house, but it's going to make a big difference. You're going to make more back than we're spending. I promise you that, just from my experience. When you take a house and you throw paint and carpet and some things in like that before you list it, it makes a huge difference in return, maybe 5 to 10% in cases. And we're talking about 1 or 2%.
Yeah, well, that sounds good, because I want to get the most I can for the house. So if I spend a little to get a lot more, then it makes sense.
Yeah. So pause for a minute. I'll get to you, Allison. You notice how I gave them a variety, and all of a sudden they get to go down the path. And I also asked you beforehand, what are you expecting to pay?
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard to get me out of that conversation. I usually want to have that in the house, by the way. I don't want to have that on the phone to the listing appointment.
Yeah. So, what's interesting, while I was sitting here thinking about you offering me, a 4, 5, or 6, or 7, I was, trying to think of how, I was going to trip you up. And I thought, well, if I go low and tell him my house doesn't need it, or I can fix all my own stuff, he's getting the listing. If I tell him my house is a mess, I need a lot of help, he's got that covered.
Listing.
He's getting the
exactly.
listing. So I was kind of struggling to trip you up on that. You really kind of had, you were going to roll with whatever I said because of how you laid that out. So I kind of like that approach up front.
That's the key, Rich. I appreciate you acknowledging that. Because even if you say, oh man, we need to go with a higher one, so we'll probably do that, but we're going to get a hold of you in a couple months. We got to put a roof on. We got to do all this. I'm like, no, don't do that alone. Are you kidding me? We need to partner on this. I'll put the listing out 2-3 months. I'll take it now, but it's not going to be active until August. But let me get my contractors. Let me help you with this process. That's all part of that upper one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And so you can maneuver this any way you want to. What I like is 4, 5.5, and 7. That way it's kind of right in the middle of the whole thing. And if you need to negotiate, you can go to 5, right? Which is normal for everybody.
Yeah.
So I go just like that. I go 4 is like bare bones. You barely get a sign in the yard, right? Just kidding. You're not going to get all the high end photography and all this stuff, but it's kind of the bare bones on purpose to help you save money. And at 5.5, I'm going to put the MLS is going to get 3%. So I am taking less than I'm offering to the market. And that's for you. I'm taking less money. So all of a sudden you're a hero. And if you want to discount the commission, I'm discounting theirs, right? There's nowhere to go on 2.5 to me.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're getting all these video tours and all this stuff at this price. And then 7, not for everybody, but man, it's the cat's meow. It's like set it and forget it. It's for that, it's for that person that's busy. They're working hard. They're making good money. It's going to cost them more to paint the gutters than it is to get somebody out there. I'm going to handle the whole deal.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Allison, you had a hand up.
I was just going to ask why you skipped 6 because you went 4, 5, 7, but you kind of answered it.
So I didn't want to use 4 different scenarios, but like in ours, what we're doing is we're doing 5, 6, 7 is what we've been doing. But honestly, I've changed my tune lately because there's a team in Portland that is doing them for 4% flat. Matter of fact, one of my teams, and they're crushing it. And they're doing 2.5 on the MLS and 1.5 to them in Portland because it's so competitive. There's a lot of 1% listings out there. I personally don't like that particular model personally. It's working for him. That's all that matters. But there's a variation of that. So 4.5 is the variation I agree with. That's 2.5 to the MLS, 2 to us. And there's still a pretty decent level of service that we provide them for that. But it's a listing world. We need listings. We need to be the listing king because any listing we get now and we do a good job for referrals, when the market turns, we're going to be boss. Yeah. And it's all about setting yourself up to be boss. If you hold true to your guns at 6% because that's what Floyd Wickman and Brian Buffini said to do, and you only list 2 houses this year, it's a fail. So I'd rather list, he listed 300 houses or something. So it's clearly there's a market for that. But listen, I want to save money. I'm a damn real estate broker. I want to save money. If I can get the exact same services and I can save 2, 3, 4 grand, I'm going to do it. Right? If I trust the relationship, I'm all about it. I'm spending 2, 3 grand before it even hits the bank. Yeah. We're human. But I like giving them options. So I don't like getting into the conversations. Well, they're so willing to do this and they're willing to do this and they're not going to market it. We're better. That's just all dialogue that's not valuable. I want to stay in the positive. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We'll do all that. But I mean, if you want me to do nothing but put on the MLS for you and you're going to do it on Zillow, I'll do it for 1% all day. Right? I'm happy to. My broker's cool. We're cool. Whatever I can do to help you. Matter of fact, if it doesn't sell, we try it. We can always go back up and do different things, right? I got a listing agreement.
Yep.
Right. But personally, I love the 4.5 models, the lowest I'll go. So I'll do 2.5 to the MLS, 2 to me on the listing side. We offer a pretty good host of services. 5.5, which is 3 to the MLS, 2.5 to me again. I'm still showing that I'm willing to pay them more. And then if they negotiate, well, everybody else that came out said 5. I go, I'll do 5. I'll change the MLS to 2.5. But I'm telling you, I think there's an advantage getting them extra money, and there is. You know, the market's already super tight. The market's already super tight. These agents are looking at this 2.5 and 2 and 1% commission. They see 3, it's going to be like a shark. It just is.
There's no question.
No question. And so I want my seller to take advantage of that. I want them to take advantage of that. Right. And then I go, if I double end it, I double end it. It's just lucky. Right. So there's a chance that I will double end these deals. But personally, it's about that dialogue that they're not really getting into. I can't do that, or you can't do that, or, you know, I'm not gonna lower my thing down. It just opens it up for you.
Yeah.
Right. So you can do 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, whatever mathematically feels the best for you. That lays out very easily where you're giving the MLS a little more than you, right? Except in the upper one, because that 1% needs to go to cover these expenses. And yeah. I would, from a construction background, don't tell them it's 400,000, 1% is $4,000. Don't tell them you're going to spend $4,000. Just say, we're going to do what's needed to get this thing. I'm going to get my carpet cleaner in here. I'm going to get my painter in here. He's going to probably spend 4 to 5, 6 hours in here. What's that going to cost you? It's not going to cost you $500. Right. So all these things are hella services, but a painter's $500, carpet cleaner's $200, a carpenter come in and fix all the doors and make sure they all shut right and tighten doorknobs and do all this stuff. You get a roof guy come out and certify the roof and blow the gutters out. Now at $1,000. You have a staging company, they'll do it for, typically staging could be 0.5% up to 1%, depending on the house. So you got to watch that in your conversation with them about listing. But think about that. Think about taking a high-end listing or wanting to get into that market. And then you talk to a high-end seller that's like, dude, I don't have to do any of that stuff. Nope. We're ready to roll. Matter of fact, I'm going to do stuff you didn't think about. My landscaper is going to trim all those bushes and plant some color in there. And I got it. I got it. I know how to sell a house. You just do your thing. Right? Well, we don't want to sell because we're going to Europe for 3 weeks. Perfect. Let me sell that sucker while you're gone. You'll come back with contract. I might have to send it to you on your vacation, but I'll put a contingency that we're not talking about anything else till you get back. Right? You see what I'm saying? So this is, again, my style. It's valuable. The big thing for me is when I talk to people with this enthusiasm, it's hard for them to say no. And I'm like, I'm your solution. You know, you just need to stop looking for shiny objects and focus on my solution. What can we do to help you? And if they do say no to some of this, I'll say, what part of this are you looking for something different from other agents? You know, it's okay. You have nothing signed with me, but what else are you looking for? And they may say, hey, I've heard some people are doing it for 1%. Yeah, that's definitely not me. But what are you looking to get out of that 1%? I want everything. I want virtual tours. I want them to pump my pool. Yeah, we're just not a fit, man. But let me see what I can do. Let me try and sell it. Let me know when it goes live, whatever. Right? Great conversation with for sale by owners too, because they're looking for those opportunities to, you know, the net is the important thing to the for sale by owner, because the time I'll not get into the details of that, but with them, it's all a net conversation. They're looking to save money, period. That's For sale by owners, put a sign in the yard and do it all themselves for one reason. They believe that they could do the same project and get the same results for less money. So you have to talk money. You have to be able to prove to them the net is going to change with your services, and then honor it. Just say, hey, if you sell it on your own, like you just said, you're going to net 240. You said you're willing to pay half a commission to the agent, so that's 2.5. So that means you're now going to net, say, 232. That's your net. If I could prove to you that I'll get you more than a 232 net, then let me sell your house. And if I don't get you 232 net in writing, it's not going to happen. I'll get you 232 or north of that, and I'll do what I do. And by the way, keep doing what you're doing. If you sell it first, good for you. Let's go. Let's have a horse race with this thing, have some fun. You can sell it yourself, and I'll have it on the MLS. It's totally legal. We don't have any problems with that. We'll just identify who's who, and I'll honor you. If you say it came from you, I'll honor it. Right? And by the way, we're moving towards 1-day cancellation contracts. Give me 24 hours notice and you can cancel anytime. Instead of locking them into these long-term 6-month contracts and stuff. I just go, hey, what I do is going to be proven to you. And if it's not, I'm willing to just back out of it. 24 hours notice. That's a big statement for some of you guys. Big statement, especially when you have one listing and they're like fighting tooth and nails for me, right? Letting the seller out in 1 day. You better be on your game. All right. Is this good? Yeah. Is this valuable? This kind of content, this kind of flow?
Definitely.
Awesome.
It is.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here, alive, excited, full of energy. And I'm going to go talk to some homeless people now and go on with my day.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Randy.
I appreciate you guys. Actually, I think I'm going to go buy him lunch and make his day.
Yeah.
All right.
Love it.
Okay, guys. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Rock the week. Tear it off, man. You have an opportunity to make this your best week in a long time. Get it done. Dan, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate you.
Have a great day, Randy.
Have a great day, everybody. See ya. Bye.